Now, joining me to take a look at the screening process and dynamics of the coming elections is the Executive Director of Global Advocacy for African Affairs, Anyanwu. Chris, good to see you and thanks for your time. Let's start by talking about the ongoing screening of the ruling party, the APC. Do you think the candidates have shown enough understanding of the task ahead?
First of all, I would like to say the ongoing political process in Nigeria, starting from what I will prefer to call the kangaroo APC screening exercise, to the Dollargate PDP presidential primaries of last week, a bazaar of some sort, where the highest bidder took the day, is a clear indication of the fast-fading democratic credentials of the entire African political process. And I think Nigeria as a country has continued to put the wrong footing forward, setting a very terrible precedent. What we must understand is this: the whole world is on a fast lane to get it right. Unfortunately,
I apologize. I'm sorry for butting in here because of time constraints. I actually wanted us to really go strictly into the issues now. I'm trying for us to look at the task ahead for the candidates. Let's talk about the screening of aspirants of the APC. What readily comes to mind, observing the screening? You think that that's the way to go?
From what I can see, I can see with the whole screening exercise going on. First of all, I don't think the entire screening process is good enough in terms of quality, in terms of content. After one of the candidates by name Bola Tinubu was screened, I think there was a video that circulated around the social media, and we saw some kind of interaction that doesn't come across like anything to go by. It sounded very informally and unserious, and the conversation wasn't really what some of us wanted to hear. So we would have loved a situation where the candidates and the aspirants, come to make their case on exactly what they intend to bring to the table, in specific terms. Enough of the whole, mirage of promises and things that are not realistic and things that are not possible in terms of application. So I don't think. Yeah.
Sorry again to butt in. Now that you already have that observation, let's also bring in the concerns of some party members, especially two key members of the National Working Committee, who also threatened to reject the outcome of what you saw, talking about the ongoing screening of presidential aspirants and their decisions. How will this affect, next week's primary of the APC?
Personally, I did not expect anything different. There has been allegations that the international chairman of APC, the former governor of Niger State, has been accused so many times of, high-handedness. People who are close to him, who know him before now, said he's a dictator, someone who takes decisions unilaterally. So this has been ongoing at the background. There has been this murmuring and all that, before now. So I'm not surprised that members of the National Working Committee came up with that argument about the way he has been handling, the way everything has been handled by him. So, and I think if care is not taken, APC may implode. So the whole, things going on right now seems to me like, a process that is not being properly managed, and a ruling party that is not, recognizing the fact that they are the ruling party. So, and Nigeria would have wanted or expected to see something different and something more organized, something more proper in terms of administration.
And Chris, this implosion you talk about and this concern you've raised, put this side by side with indications, of President Buhari trying to get truly involved in getting a successor. He's asked the 22 APC governors to pick a consensus candidate. Do you see a consensus candidate emerging on the day?
First of all, I think that's the highest level of disrespect to we Nigerians who do not belong to the APC or the PDP. I mean, you're talking about 22 governors. If you add the president, that will be 23 people trying to take a decision that affects the entire members of the party and by extension, Nigerians in general. So I think that is demeaning. And that also is an indication of how politicians have treated Nigerians in the past. Reminiscence of how they have handled the security situation where people die 50, 100 and all that, and nobody cares. Nobody, seems to be concerned. So I think the political process should be allowed to play out the way it plays out in other climes. The idea of the president asking people to allow him to choose a successor, I mean, is unacceptable. I mean, it's a democracy. Everybody should have a say, even if you cannot have your way. So that is the way it should be. And I think if APC is not careful, that is going to be another problem for them in the making.
Quickly, before I let you go, the issue of zoning is still very much on the, talking corners in the country, especially after the emergence of Atiku Abubakar of the opposition PDP. For Nigeria's ruling APC, some northern governors have argued that no southern aspirant could defeat the PDP's Atiku Abubakar. Does this indicate, a shift by the APC towards the north?
Again, I consider that very insulting, and I consider that, the highest level of arrogance. Because, first of all, it's a no-no for some people to think. This is a Nigeria where, people value their sensibilities. A lot of things, there are no-go areas for some people. Now we have a northern president for by May next year, May 29, it would have been 8 years. And here we have another northerner scheming to replace him, and apparently for another 8 years, that will be 16 years. So saying there is no southerner that will defeat that's the highest level of arrogance in politics. I do think that is also going to be a very strong factor in this whole power equation. You see, the issue of power shift is going to play a very serious role in this in the 2023 election. Another thing I also see that is going to play a very serious role in 2023 election is the issue of age. If you look at the PDP candidate, it's almost 80, 76. And that is going to, that's going to be a very determinant, serious, strong determinant factor to who become a president come 2023, because Nigeria, the young people are beginning to tilt towards, a kind of president, that will understand them, a kind of president that will feel them, a kind of president that has a very strong understanding of international politics, international diplomacy, international economics, a kind of president that can be able to match, what we have across the world. Look at somebody like Macron, 44 by October or thereabout, this year, and he's doing quite pretty well. Look at other presidents across the country. So, that is going to be a very strong determinant factor to who become the president come 2020. And another thing that is going to be also a very strong determinant factor come 2023 is competence. And yes, a lot of people can say competence can be, can be viewed in different prisms. But then, what people have represented, what people stood for over time, what people has been over time is going to play a very serious, strong role. How people have been able to manage the very little they have when they had it is going to play a very strong role. So some of these are narrative and conversations and that politicians keep making. Politicians are the entire politicians who have in this country, I think they are just less than 10, 20% of the entire population.
All right, Chris Anyanwu, I'd like to thank you for your time, Chris Anyanwu. Many thanks for speaking with us on the news.
Thank you very much.